What's up, guys? It's Chris here. Just coming back from a quick grocery mini haul, nothing major. So today's video, we're doing our ODBJ, and I'm going to be discussing my method, how I budget. I thought about this all week. Got some different categories I want to break down for you. So let's go ahead, let's head into my office and let's get started. We're going to make brownies. Alright, you guys, so when I'm looking at how to break down my budgeting, I break it down into separate categories, and that helps me take a step back into how much I'm going to put into each category when something needs to be paid, and how I'm going to pay it based on my bi-weekly payments, okay? So the first category is credit cards. My second category is my mortgage. My third category is my investments. And my fourth category is my sinking funds. Alright, you guys, so the reason that I break my finances up into categories like that, since I am paid bi-weekly, it helps me to figure out what amount I can pay from which paycheck. And the way I like to do it is I like to put all of my expenses in like one paycheck. So that paycheck, everything is paid, everything's taken care of. And then my second paycheck, it's kind of a little bit more loose and I have more money to work with. So let's first look at my credit card category and how I break that money down and how I make those payments. So what I've done with my credit cards, and you may want to look into this, the first thing I did was look at what the due date was for all of them. And then I set up arrangements with my credit card companies so I can make my due date the same for all of my credit cards. So if you guys are not aware of this, you can absolutely call your credit card company and change your due date. It does not have to be the date that they set for you. It can be a date that you arrange. You just call and you ask for approval and they can change it. The next thing I do when I'm working on my credit cards and how I allocate my expenses is that I put all of my bills on my credit cards. The reason I do this, and if you guys are there, you'll understand why, or if you're working on paying off your debt, you still have to show activity on your credit cards, okay? So just because you paid those credit cards off, that is not what boosts your credit score, okay? The point of boosting your credit score is showing activity, showing that you're responsible with your credit card, showing that you can make timely payments, showing that you can pay it off on time. So why not put your bills on those credit cards? Because you have to pay your bills every month. So for example, on my credit cards, all of my bills are on there. My electric bill, my water bill, my cable bill, my cell phone bill. Any bill that I pay is on a credit card, and I've allocated different credit cards for those payments because you still want to stay under that 30% utilization rate every month, which means you want to keep your credit utilization score under 30% across all credit cards. The next thing I do when it comes to my credit cards is that I make sure I set up automatic payments. I don't know about you, but times can get busy. Sometimes you can get forgetful. I know that I can. So what I've done is I set up auto payments on all of my cards for all of my payments so that that money can automatically come out and I don't have to worry about it. Now, I'm going to tell you, for the longest, I was that person like, I'm not setting up auto pay. They're not taking my money. What if I want to pay them? I was that person. I was that person. Like, you ain't getting this money from me until I tell you. But just look at if auto payments work for you. Because if they do, it can be your best friend. It can be your best friend, especially when you have the bills coming out on your credit card. Then you don't have to worry about paying that bill. All you got to do is worry about paying one bill, and that's to your credit cards. So that's how I set up my credit cards. And now let's look at how I set up my mortgage payment. Oh, there you go. Coffee break. All right, you guys, next category is my mortgage. Since my mortgage is such a hefty sum, I like to make sure that that's taken out on a separate paycheck. So let's take a look at how I break that down and what I like to allocate to be paid with my mortgage payment. There's really nothing special about a mortgage or when your rent is due. When it's due is when it's due. And I haven't found that you can change the date on that. So what I've done is make everything else work around my mortgage. So you'll notice when I do my budget and when you guys see me do budget breakdowns, my credit cards and bills and expenses, everything comes out on one check, so I can leave the second check for my mortgage. And then typically what I have come out with my mortgage are those little expenses that really doesn't hurt a lot and we mostly have sinking funds for. So like my subscriptions. So what I normally like to do is make sure that I have all my subscriptions come out of this check. So YouTube subscription or Netflix or Mini-Me's Roblox or anything like that. What I also like to make sure I do is I allocate money to Mini-Me's savings account every month. And I like to have it come out of this check. Well, the point is that I don't have any major bills come out with this mortgage when it's due. That money that's remaining is the majority of the money that I use for all of my sinking funds or cash envelopes or anything that I want to participate in. That's where I get most of my money. And for category number 3, that's my investments. So I have different ways of doing my investments. I do investments on my own using the Acorn app. And if you guys are not familiar with that, make sure you click on the link below and you can learn a lot more from it. I really do enjoy it. But then I also do investments with my job that's pre-tax as far as investing in our stocks in my company and also investing in my 401k. So take a look at this. Let me show you how it's broken down and which paycheck these investments come out of. Now, for those of you, I don't know how many of you are doing investments, but the first thing that you want to do is what I do is look into your investments at your company if you have the option to invest there. So with my company, I know that pre-tax before I get paid, I can invest in my 401k, I can invest in stock options with my company. So for those of you who don't want to go out on your own and you don't want to have to worry about what stocks I should invest in, all this stuff, invest in your company. If they have stock options, that's a good place to start. Secondly, if you have not started a 401k, I would advise you to do it. It does not matter if you are too young. You are never too young. And I wish I would have paid more attention to my 401k when I was younger, because when I was young, I cashed it out. I had all this money and I wasted it. And I wish I would have known then what I know now. The next thing you can do is invest your money in different investment options out there. I know there's a lot of places that you can invest your money. You can do it on your own. One of the places that I use that I adore is Acorn Investments. The reason that I like Acorn is because I can set up weekly, daily, monthly amounts to be invested. I pick which categories I want it to be invested in, and it's auto drafted out my account when I say. So right now with my Acorn account, I have money investment monthly into a Roth IRA. The other thing Acorn does is that I can contribute money every week is what I do. And every week it takes money out of my account and it invests it in the stock market. Another thing I like about Acorn is that I can do kids investments. So every month I have money allocated to go into Mini-Me's account, and it does kids investments for her that she can touch when she's 25. So every month I put $80 into her account for investments, and every month it shows she gets dividends. It invests in different companies for her, and it shows me what amount she will have when she turns 25. So if you haven't started looking into investments, this is a great time to do it. Don't ever think you're too old to get started. Don't ever think you're too young to get started. Matter of fact, start as soon as you can, because it will grow over the long run, and try your best not to touch it. Coffee break. My fourth category is my sinking funds. So after I've paid my credit cards, after I pay my mortgage, all of my subscriptions, after I pay my investments and my 401k and all of those things, then whatever's left over, I allocate to my sinking funds. And let me show you guys how I set up my sinking funds, what I pay, and what amount comes out with each paycheck. I put sinking funds last because to me, sinking funds is optional. Okay, I love my sinking funds. I love what this budgeting community has taught me about being able to allocate money to different categories, and it works great. And I've saved more money than I ever have before. But the reason this category is last is because whatever I have remaining after I take care of all of my bills, my mortgage and subscriptions, my investments, then whatever's left over, I will allocate into this category of sinking funds. And I have 4 different topics of sinking funds that I allocate money into. And that's high priority, low priority, my business, and my savings challenges. So high priority is just that. Everything that I think is a priority is going to get stuff first before the rest of these things. High priority is mini-me. It's medical. Medical is very important to me, guys. You don't ever want to get caught with any kind of medical bill balance. That's the worst. A medical bill balance will ruin your day, won't it? Car maintenance, very important. Always put something aside for car maintenance. Different things like, home emergency fund, just your regular emergency fund that's separate from your savings. All of those things I put under high priority because no matter what, with each check, whatever I have left over, that's going to be stuff first. Low priority are things that they mean a lot to me, but if they don't get stuff, they don't get stuff. So what I mean by that is I have envelopes set up for tech or appliances or Amazon or things like that. That's not a necessity. Those are things I want to save for, and it's great when I do save for them, but it's not a necessity if I don't have the money. Next is my business binder. My business binder always gets stuffed when I stuff my high priority binder. But again, if I don't have it, then I need to think of different ways that I can stuff it. And you guys, we do that all the time. We come up with second sources of income. I like to DoorDash to come up with second sources of income so that I can allocate some of these things so that they can be stuffed. But the point is, if you don't have the income for it after these priority goals are taken care of first, then you can come up with a second source of income to do it. Don't negate these other things trying to stuff this category down here first. You understand what I'm saying? And then lastly are my savings challenges. I love a good savings challenge. And what I'm using my savings challenges for is to invest in 3 to 6 months of expenses for my main savings category and also save for my daughter a car. But again, if I don't have that and I need that savings money, you better believe all of those different categories I'm stuffing is going to go towards that. So I guess the main point is, you guys, when you're coming up with your budget, do what works best for you, but do what's smart. Don't do what's trendy. Don't do what's cute. Don't do what's going to make a cute envelope. Don't do any of that. The main point of all of this, you guys, is when you're creating your budget, do what works best for you and make sure you take care of priorities first before you focus on other things. So there you have it. That's how I set up my method of budgeting. I hope it was helpful. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please drop down in the comment section below how you guys set up your monthly budget. And also drop down in the comments below. Let us know how you guys are liking the ODBJ movement. I think it's such a fantastic thing. I love this series that Budgeting April has created. Make sure you're checking her out. And after my video, you guys, make sure you check out Budget and Grow. She's up next. She's doing a great job with her budget and her stories, and I am so enjoying it. And with that being said, you guys, next week, I will be back to talk about our struggles. So you guys know we all have had struggles. We've all had our struggles. We're still struggling. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.